Turning to page 16 of the calendar, House Bill 1876, a bill to amend and reenact sections of the Code of Virginia relating to sterilization operations for persons capable of informed consent. Waiting period. Report from the Committee on Health, Welfare and Institutions on January 17th and reported from the same committee on January 29th.
The gentleman from Richmond City, Ms. McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Under current law, if you have had a child or adopted a child and you want to be sterilized, that can happen immediately. If you have never had a child or adopted a child and you want to be sterilized, the law requires you to wait 30 days. House Bill 1876 removes that waiting period for people who have not had or adopted a child. I ask that the bill be engrossed and passed to its third reading.
Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman, Prince William, Mr. Marshall.
Will the gentlelady yield for a question?
Will the gentlewoman yield?
I yield.
Gentlewoman yields.
Mr. Speaker, what is the burden on waiting 30 days if you're 18 years old to permanently abolish your ability to have children? I mean, at 18, do we think the same as we do at 30? I mean, so in other words, what's wrong with a 30-day wait?
Mr. Speaker, I would answer the gentleman by saying that the General Assembly has made a policy decision long ago that if you are 18 years of age, you are an adult capable of making decisions and living with the consequences of those decisions. If you are 18 years old, the fact of whether or not you have had a child should not be the sole determining factor of whether you have to wait 30 days.
Further question?
Will the gentlewoman yield?
I yield.
Gentlewoman yields.
Well, apparently left out in the recitation of the decision of the Assembly was the current condition that's in there. This was put in there presumably to give pause to an individual who may be thinking short-term but experiencing long-term complications. For example, if this is done under public assistance, would a reversal of the sterilization also be allowed under some form of public assistance?
Mr. Speaker, I would answer the gentleman. I assume he is talking about what happens if you are on Medicaid. Medicaid law, which will not be affected by this bill. First, Medicaid will not pay for sterilization if its sole purpose is for preventing pregnancy. Second of all, Medicaid rules will not pay for sterilization for anyone under the age of 21. And Medicaid does require a waiting period for anyone seeking to be sterilized, whether they have had children or not.
Further question?
Will the gentlewoman yield?
Yes.
Gentlewoman yields.
The Affordable Care Act has a provision in it which mandates that employers must provide insurance for abortion pills, birth control, which you can get for $9 at Walmart per month, and sterilization. So this is independent of that. Moreover, you may be a dependent person. You may be 18 years old on your parents' policy and be, quote, eligible under the new law. So does not that give pause to the gentlelady to reflect about this, because it's not a Medicaid, it's going to be it's a mandate which is placed on churches, nonprofits, and profits, for-profit organizations.
No, sir. Mr. Speaker, I would say that the gentleman's problem is really with current law that would allow someone 18 years of older to make the decision about whether or not to be sterilized. Again, all this is a simple policy question. If you believe that people should have to wait 30 days, the fact whether or not they have had a child should not impact whether or not they wait that 30 days. If a doctor wants to require someone to wait 30 days, that doctor can require them to do so. But the state should not mandate, based solely on whether someone has had or adopted a child, whether or not they should wait 30 days.
One more question.
Will the gentlewoman yield?
I yield.
Gentlewoman yields.
Mr. Speaker, we have legislation pending right now dealing with human trafficking. And often such persons are from foreign countries and are in a coercive situation. Wouldn't this rule here allow such persons to be further exploited, so-called safely, to make them pregnancy-free if we're doing this? Whereas if the current law existed, such persons could not be exploited in that fashion.
Mr. Speaker, I would answer the gentleman that most victims of human trafficking are under the age of 18, and this law would not apply to them at all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shall the bill be engrossed and passed to its third reading? As many as favor that motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. Bill is engrossed and passed to its third reading.